As gardeners, we're always pruning in the garden, and to do the job properly and to keep plants healthy, it's important that we have a good pair of secateurs that are nice and sharp. Fortunately, Darlac have a superb range of all different sizes and styles for all types of pruning around the garden. So I've just got 3 pairs here. I'm going to show you how they work and explain a little bit about them. I'm going to start with these. These are the Expert Bypass Pruners, really sharp pair of secateurs here, and they work very similar to a pair of scissors. We've got a sharp blade here that bypasses the fixed blade at the bottom there, so it gives a really clean precision cut. Very easy to use. They've got a lovely shaped handle there to hold them. So let me just show you exactly how these work. This is a dogwood. This is something that we would prune in the spring. We grow this for its lovely stem colours, lots of different varieties of them, and they are really good, really from when the leaves fall off in November right the way through until the middle of March when we'd prune them. And to get these lovely stems for next year, we're going to prune them hard. It looks a bit drastic, but it does them a power of good. And literally all I'm going to do is to use my secateurs and cut down, as we can see, all the new growth that was made last year. I'm going to cut back. If you can see a bud, all the better, but don't worry too much because they will grow. There's a bud there, and I'm going to prune. And these secateurs are so sharp, they prune without any effort at all, and it is simply just a case of cutting all the growth off, making sure that if there are any little bits of dead wood from last year, like there, a little bit of dead wood we take off. So there we have it. Everything is cut down, all the little bits, all the dead stumps off there. And we've got a nice clean cut. That will now regenerate lots of growth through the summer. And because these are so sharp, we've got a lovely clean edge, which is important for the health of the plant. These will cut stems about the thickness of your little finger without too much trouble. So really good for this sort of pruning. Next I want to show you these. These are the Expert Anvil Pruners, cut in a slightly different way. We've got this thick base plate here, which is known as the anvil, and then we've got the blade here. And this blade is sharp on both sides. It's beveled on both sides, so very sharp. And when we cut through a stem, it chomps down and it makes a clean cut. And these are great for tougher stems, woody growth, slightly thicker wood, so really good for general pruning of shrubs. I'm just going to show you on this. This is a buddleia. Buddleia is known as the butterfly bush, lovely late summer flowering shrub in whites and mauves and purples. We can see the remains here of last year's flower stems. I tend to leave them on because it's great for attracting birds into the garden over the winter. They'll feast on these thousands of seeds in these old seed heads. They've eaten them all now, so it's time to prune. So this is where we pruned to last year, this time. So I've got a framework of older branches down at the base of the shrub, and then this is all last summer's growth that's flowered forward. So we need to cut that off. That's the idea. Buddleias flower on new wood, on the current season's growth. So I'm just going to take the secateurs. Again, I'm looking for a bud. There's some buds here, so I'm just going to prune above a bud. That's with all pruning where possible, we prune just above a bud. If you can't see it, you can often feel the bud there, but we can see on this growth here, it's already started to grow. So I'm actually going to cut just above there, and I'm going to cut above there. So it's really simple to do, and we can hear those cutting through that stem. Another good thing to do with any pruning of this type is to make sure that we take out any dead wood as well. This is all live wood that we're cutting out, but it's bad practice to leave dead wood in. So anything that you know is dead, and this is dead because we can hear that it's dead there and brittle. So I'm just going to cut that off down there. And then we've got another one here that is also dead that we can cut off. So it's just getting rid of the dead. And the anvil secateurs are particularly good at chopping through dry dead wood there. So we cut those off down there, and then we just cut the live wood back again to a bud. So I'm just going to go over the whole of the shrub there, pruning it down, taking out the dead wood, and then it's going to burst into growth and we'll get beautiful flowers in July, August and September. I've got another pair of Anvil Pruners here to show you. These are slightly different in the fact that they've got a ratchet on them. So we've still got the fixed blade there, the base, we've got the double-edged cutting edge, but we've got a ratchet on them, and that makes them really good if you've got a thicker stem or some dead wood in a shrub, because you don't have to put as much pressure on. It just basically pumps through. Ideally, if you've got a bit of arthritis, I get a bit of arthritis in my fingers occasionally, so it just means you don't have to put as much pressure on. And if I just show you here, I've got a piece of a stem that I cut off. This is a Physocarpus. It's quite a hard wood on these, so it's just a case, lock on, gentle pump, and it makes this really clean cut without much effort at all. So I'm going to use these on this shrub just here. I've got one or two thicker branches low down that I just want to take off where they're growing out. So really simple, it's just a case of going in with the pruners nicely in there and pump through, and you can see makes a very, very easy and neat job of cutting through quite thick stems. Just a little tip when using any type of pruner, always make sure you close them up when you're not in use with the safety catch there, just to prevent you cutting yourself on the sharp blade. And when you're actually pruning in the garden, to make it easier, make sure whatever you're pruning goes right back into the secateurs there. It's much easier to cut when it's embedded in the back of the secateur blade than it is at the tip, so you don't need to put as much pressure on when it's at the back, so that makes life easier. And then when you finish with them, it's always a good idea just to get a cloth and just to wipe down the blade to get rid of any sap or bits of prunings that are stuck on the blade. Get a bit of thin oil, just a few drops on the blade, and just work it in with a cloth so that they're nicely lubricated and clean, so when you need them again, they're all ready for action. For information on any of the products in the Darlac range, go to darlac.com.